Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Esther ain't a metamas yadayim. So we spoke out that Sifrei Kodesh are metame, make your hands tameh. Reason being that people used to store the holy food truma together with Daran Kodesh because this is holy, that's holy, so they put it in Daran Kodesh, and this would lead to problems of mice coming and eating through the Sifrei Torah. So the Chacham were saying that Kisvei Kodesh are metame. So like this, you wouldn't keep them next to the food. The Memra, so Amr Yudam Shmuel says that Esther is not metame the hands. The Memra, the Sava Shmuel Esther Ruach HaKodesh. So does this mean to say that Shmuel holds that Esther was not written through Ruach HaKodesh? Because if it was written through Ruach HaKodesh, it would be Kisvei Kodesh. Shmuel himself says Esther Ruach HaKodesh Memra. Shmuel himself said that Esther was written Ruach HaKodesh. And the Gemara Nemra Likrois V'lai Nemra Lichtoif. It was said Ruach HaKodesh to read it, but not that it should be written down and added to the Ksuvim. Meisvei. Rabbi Meir asked a question, upshlagin this. Rabbi Meir Oimer Meisvei. So we're bringing a raya against this. Rabbi Meir Oimer. Kehelis any matam zidan. Rabbi Meir says Kehelis is not matam with the hands. Machlekes b'shiashim. And shiashim is machlekes if it's matam zidan. Rabbi Yosi Oimer shiashim matam zidan. Machlekes b'kehelis. Rabbi Yosi says the shiashim is matam with the hands, and it's a machlekes b'kehelis. Rabbi Shimon Oimer Kehelis mikule beishamei mechumrei beisilom. Kehelis is one of the rare things that's a kula of beishamei and a chumra of beisilom. Aval Rus v'shiashirim ve'Esther, but Rus v'shiashirim and Esther metamas yadayim. Who the Amak Rabbi Shmuel, the Rabbi Yeshua. This is like that we learned from Yeshua. Rabbi Yeshua, Tanya, a brisa. Rabbi Shimon Nasi Oimer Kehelis ain't metamas yadayim. Rabbi Shimon says that Kehelis is not metamas yadayim. Why? B'nei shachachmas shel shleimi. It's just the chachma of shleima, and therefore not Ruach HaKodesh. Amrullah. So they said to him, the chachamim said to Rabbi Shimon ben Asa, who's Zubel Vadomar. Is this all that Shlomo Melech said himself? But already says that Shlomo said 3,000 different mashalim. He didn't write all that in Kehelis. The Oimer, and it says initially Al Toisval Dvarav. Don't add on his words. My ve'Oimer, what is this? And it says ve'Oimer Al Toisval Dvarav. V'chit Heimah, right? This is what he said. V'chit Heimah Mema Tuva Omar. You could say maybe you might want to say Mema Tuva Omar. He said a lot of different things. The boy yichtav, the boy lo yichtav. What he felt like right now, he wrote down everything. Toshma, so we'll bring the raya. The raya is Al Toisval Dvarav. That says Al Toisval Dvarav. Don't add on his words Muzayin as it's Ruach HaKodesh. That's why you can't add to goes to Ruach HaKodesh. Ad kan Om Shabbos HaKodesh. So now we're starting on Zayin Amud Aleph.
Middle of the wide lines.
Tanya Rabbi Lezer Arna. There was a name that I wanted to say out for Shalom. Somebody asked me to say this name. Oh, for Refuah Shalem, for Chai Rachel, Basrina Fradel. He's on a ventilator. He's on Refuah Shalem. Tana Rabbi Lezer Oimer. So we have a brayso. Rabbi Lezer said, Esther Baruch HaKodesh Namra. Esther was written from Ruach HaKodesh, Shenema. We're going to bring a raya. Actually, we're going to bring a bunch of rayas from different Tanoim. We're going to bring different rayas. Vayom Haman Beliboy. So Rabbi Lezer's raya is, it says, Vayom Haman Beliboy, and Haman said in his heart. What does Haman say in his heart? He said, Lemiach Bois HaMelech Yosef Meni. He said, when Achashverosh called him in and said, what do you do to somebody that you want to give covet to, that you want to treat, things? So he said, Vayom Haman Beliboy. Haman in his heart said, in his mind said, who would the king want to show this respect to? Obviously, it means me. So Rabbi Lezer said, if it says Vayom Haman Beliboy, that Haman said in his mind, how would we know that he said in his mind? Mozayin is Ruach HaKodesh, because we wouldn't know what somebody is saying in their heart or in their mind. Rav Kiva Oimer, Rav Kiva's raya is Esther Ruach HaKodesh Namra Shenema. But he asked the noise says Chaim be'enei kol reyeha. When the Torah writes something, writes it down, it's as real as ever. It's not a mashal. It's not when the Torah says that everybody that saw Esther, she pulled chain. So in the eyes of all that saw her, so you could say that this person had a lot of chain, right? To say that every single person that saw her is something that you would only know that if you had Ruach HaKodesh. Only the Torah could say such a thing. Yeah. So the Torah tells us in the Megillah, Vatiyas and Esther was noises came in Korea, and every single person that saw her. Doesn't mean most people saw her and thought she was beautiful. Most people thought her saw her and were awed by her. No, it says in the eyes of all those that saw her. So the Rabbi Kiva is saying this means that it was Ruach HaKodesh, because how else would we know what every single person that saw her think? Rabbi Meir Oimer, Esther Ruach HaKodesh Nemer Shnemer, Vayivod Hadav L'Mordechai. So Rabbi Meir is going on Vayivod Hadav L'Mordechai, and it was known to Mordechai Vayivod Hadav L'Mordechai. It was known to Mordechai what the plot that big son and little son were big son and Sarish, right? Okay, I just want to see if Chaim was listening. Big son and Sarish were planning to poison Achashverosh, right? So he knew that they wanted to poison Achashverosh, and it says Vayivod Hadav, and it was known to him. Not they told him, oh, by the way, we're going to poison the king. He found that it was known to him. Rabbi Yossi ben Damascus Oimer. Esther Ruach HaKodesh Nemra, that Esther was written through Ruach HaKodesh Nemra. Uvabiza leishalchu es yadam. When it came to Yidden killing all the people, the bad people, they killed them. But they didn't take their money. Babiza, they didn't take the booty. They didn't take the biza. Right? So the reason is because the king would be upset that, okay, I told you these people want to kill you, so now I let you kill them. But it doesn't mean that you can take the money. The money belongs to the government. Only the government's allowed to steal. Amma Shmuel, so Shmuel said, awesome, if I was there, Hava Amina, I would say, Milsa Dadifa Mikulu. I have a better shot, I have a better raya than all of them. What's Shmuel's? Kimu. Shenema, Kimu v'kiblu. It says that Kimu, they establish, v'kiblu, and they accept it. Kimu l'mala, they establish upstairs. In Bezdin Shamala, masha kiblu l'mata. What the Yidden down here were makabel on themselves, were established, was makabel upstairs. Omar Rava said, l'chulhu is lahu pircha. In each one of these rayas, I could find an upshlag, I could find a pircha, I could find something wrong with all of them, levar min the Shmuel, except for Shmuel's raya, the less lay pircha. Shmuel's has there's no flaw, there's no way for me to upshlag it. Now, he goes through each raya, the Rabbi Eliezer. So, what does Rabbi Eliezer say? What was Rabbi Eliezer's raya was Vayom Haman Belibai, that Haman said in his heart, right? So Haman said in his heart, L'miach v'etz hamelech, who would the king want to give kavod to if not for me? So how would we know what was in Haman's svarahu? It could be you could say that there's a svara. The loy have inish the chosh of the malka kavasei. There was nobody else that was so close to the king like Haman. V'hai kimapish tuvav amar adat the nafshikama. And when he was talking, so you could understand from what he was saying what he meant to say. So it could be all al svara. What he said. He said, "Oh, bring the horse that the king rode on, and bring the clothes that the king wore, and bring it to such a person because it would make sense that he was thinking about himself. He was a zasort mensch, and then he was probably what would they call today, a narcissist, that he was thinking only about himself, and so it would make sense that he said that he was talking about himself. It could be a svara. The Rabbi Akiva Dilma Rabbi Loza. So Rabbi Kiva said, "Vati Esther no says that everybody that saw Esther was drawn to her chain." It could be like it's Rabbi Loza, the Omar, from the pasuk that Vati Esther no says she looked like every person to them. So Rashi, what does that mean? So Rashi says that every person that saw her, they didn't know her nationality. Nobody looked at her and said, oh, she had a big nose and knew that she was Jewish. Mm-hmm. Everybody that saw her was like, wherever they're from, they're like, oh, she's one of ours. She's one of us. That's how they think. V'had Rabbi Meir, and Rabbi Meir's, right? What does Rabbi Meir says? Vayivod hadav leMordechai. Rabbi Meir says that it was known to Mordechai. Dilma Rabbi Chiya Abba. It could be it's like we learned from Rabbi Chiya Abba the Omar. Bigson Saresh, Shnei Tarsiim Hoyu. They were from Tarsi. Oh, so they were sitting and talking. I think we all learned this in Cheder. Like they were sitting and talking the plan, how they're going to poison the king. Now they were from a faraway place, and maybe it was close to Turkey. I'm not sure exactly where Tarsi was, but I think it was somewhere close to Turkey. It wasn't a language that was spoken by the people in Persia at that time. And they saw this Yid who hangs out over there in Shah Melech, and they're like, yeah, for sure he doesn't understand, whatever like language they were speaking, the Tarsi language. So it happens to be that Mordechai Tzaddik was on Sanhedrin, and he had to know all 70 languages. So he had to know all 70 languages, so he understood the Tarsi. So when he heard them talking, he knew what they were saying.
So that's why Rabbi says, no, not a big deal.
That maybe this raya is not such a...
Okay.
V'hod Rabbi Yosi bar Damascus, and this that Rabbi Yosi ben Damascus said that Uvabiza le'shalchus yadam, they didn't touch the booty, they didn't touch the biza. Dilma pristake shadar. Maybe, right, because Vabiza l'shalchus yadam is also a pretty big raya, because the Yidden were in a lot of different places, they were pretty far out. So to say that nobody touched the biza at all is like a huge thing to say. So Dilma, the Gemara is saying that maybe they sent messengers from all the places where the Yidden live to say, you should know, no Yidden touched the biza. The Shmuel Vadi Lasei Percha. Right? So bleibt, we took all these rayas and we said all of them are like efsher, but we have a pretty good problem with each and every one of them. Oh, but Shmuel's, there was we couldn't find the percha. We can't find any way to upschlag it. Omar Ravina, Hainu da Amri Inchi. This is Azoiv Mezokt, Chada Pilpalta Chadifta, better Tova Chada, better one Pilpalta Charifta, sharp pepper, Mimli Tzani Kori, from a whole bowl of sweet melons. So what's the meaning of this? Because Shmuel was an Amoira, and they were all Tanaim. So Shmuel is from the next generation. He was saying this is much better.
Sharp tongue.
Yeah, but it's because he's small, right? So the one small hot pepper makes more of a rosham than a whole bowl of sweet melons. So the one Amira came up with this better raya than all the Tanaim. Rabbi Yosef has another raya. These days of Purim are not going to leave the Yidden. So how's that a raya? The raya is that how you're going to know something that's going to happen in the future. So the only way to see the future is from Ruach HaKodesh. Rav Nachman by Yitzchak Omer V'zichrom LaYosef Mizarim, which is the same concept, but the remembrance of the poor miracle LaYosef Mizarim is not going to leave from their children. The same possible.
Also means Ruach HaKodesh, and therefore
right, it must be also Ruach HaKodesh, so that's
treated in Aron Kodesh with Meiser Sheni or whatever.
Right, so that we didn't get to the bottom of, but basically, yeah, it's definitely Kisei Kodesh.